irrational and illogical females naturally are, one would think that even they would recognize when a self-proclaimed expert in any given field doesn't show proof or receipts that their expertise and advice works, that the so-called expert isn't really an expert at all. Okay? Women don't take fitness advice from fatties, and they don't take financial advice from broke people. At least one would hope that they didn't. So why is it that women seem to take bad advice from other women when it comes to relationships? Why don't they take advice from women who are in good relationships? Way back in episode number 496, long time ago, I talked about a woman by the name of, what was her name? Her name was Karen Cross, who wrote a cautionary article to young women everywhere. Now, the long and the short of what happened was that she, Karen, left her fiance when she was 19 years old because she thought that the grass was greener on the other side. She thought that there was something better out there for her. She was very young. She was very young, but she was also very, very wrong. Karen ended up making the worst decision of her life, right? And after 2 decades of sleeping around, after 2 decades of failed relationships with guy after guy, she finally comes to the realization that she made the biggest mistake of her life when she called off her engagement when she was 19. At 42 years old, Karen Cross finally realized that Matthew, her ex-fiancé, who, by the way, is happily married with children to another woman, was really the love of her life. It took Miss Cross more than 20 years to figure out that she made the biggest mistake of her life, and the article she wrote warned young women about what she went through and the bad bill of goods that feminism and feminist culture sold her. Gentlemen, you'd be surprised at how many articles, how many stories there are like this on the internet. There are countless articles, blog posts, videos, women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s warning these girls not to fall victim to the false promise of locking down a traditionally masculine man who also has his shit together after being passed around by the same men in their 20s who will reject them only a few years later for women younger than them. Guys, there are more and more of these stories floating around all the time. Even the Sex and the City creator regrets not settling down and having children. That article definitely made its rounds when that revelation came about. Unfortunately for women, for every article like Karen's that warns about the perils of the single party life for girls, there are 100 articles and videos that glorify sleeping around. For every video of a 40-something telling girls about the perils of sleeping around, for every one video of a 40-something woman telling girls to marry young and have families, there are 50 articles that talk about the joys of one-night stands and having a roster of 7 men who will come and bang your brains out in two texts or less. Not only are there more articles and videos that encourage this self-destructive behavior, girls always follow bad advice. OMG, bad advice. Why would we follow bad advice? Well, that's very simple. Bad advice, gentlemen, with regards to relationships and women, is very easy to follow. Guys, good advice in terms of relationship advice is very hard for women to follow. It's very easy, ladies, for you to sleep around. It's very hard not to sleep around. It's very easy to take the advice of a woman who says, live free, YOLO, never settle, hashtag the single life. It is very, very difficult to take the advice of a woman who tells you to exercise temperance, discrimination, and self-control in today's dating market. It's a lot easier to take advice of a woman, or take the advice of a woman who tells you to cheat on her boyfriend with the hot guy at work who's been flirting with you, than it is to take the advice of the woman who's been married for 37 years who tells you that you need to do more housework, wear less clothing around your man in order to keep his sexual attraction to you. It's easier to take advice from women who tell you to break up with your boyfriend at 20, 21 years old because you're bored than it is to take the advice of a 42-year-old woman who took that same bad advice and is now warning you not to. This is precisely why women like Susan Winter, and it's not just women, guys. Oh no, men and women are doing this. Male and female dating and relationship experts are doing this. Derek Jackson, Matthew Hussey, Jason Silver, those are the first 3 that come to mind. And there are many, many more men out here giving bad relationship advice to both men and women. But women like Susan Winter, she is damaging these women, and neither the women nor Susan really realizes it. Listen, again, I'm sure Susan's a nice lady, and I think she genuinely wants to help. But she doesn't realize that she's not. She doesn't realize that she's damaging these women. Now, the reason why men and women take my advice seriously, well, it's for two very good reasons, okay? Number one, it's very hard to hear and implement. And number two, it works. Guys in here know that what I teach works. You guys know that if you follow what I teach, one of two things is going to happen. Your significant other will either fall in, or your significant other will either fall out or leave. I'm not the guy who's going to guarantee success, guys. What I teach works and works well, but only if a woman really wants to be with you. So if guy X is getting pressured by his buddy to commit, and he tells her that he doesn't date women who goes to bars or clubs, he tells her that he doesn't date women who travel alone, whether for work or with friends, and he tells her that he doesn't date women who keep in contact with anyone she's ever been sexually intimate with, and she says, I'm not doing that shit. Mission accomplished. Well, wait a minute, Donovan, how is that mission accomplished if she leaves? Guys, my advice doesn't guarantee a good relationship with a woman. What it does guarantee is freedom. Okay, so his buddy doesn't think he's worth giving up all those slutty behaviors for. Cool. They stay buddies or she leaves. But in either case, he is free. Relationship success is not the basics. It's not the basis of my teachings, guys. Personal freedom is. And men who are sleeping with multiple women with no attachment are the same as men who are in relationships with women who love, respect, and obey them. Both of those men are free men. They can come and go as they please. They can do what they want, how they want it, and with whom they want. Guys follow my advice because they see that I've lived this shit. You guys have seen the countless pictures of me with dozens of women over a 10-year period, so you guys know that I have been successful as a bachelor and a player. You guys also see, and you guys also hear how awesome Devin is to me, and you understand that my techniques and teachings made her what she is today. What I teach made her that way. You guys see that she looks good. You see she cooks good. You see she's good. Most of all, she's happy to do these things for me. At least she is for now. You guys see that Devin is an exemplary cook and also wears whatever the hell I tell her to. Guys, I've been called a fraud many, many, many times by lesser men. The only reason why men like me call me a fraud is because they simply cannot wrap their minds around the fact that I have managed to live the life I've lived without having to hire a call girl or an escort or a prostitute. They simply cannot believe that a woman would willingly do what I require Devin to do without some sort of trick or some sort of payment, right? They don't believe that what I teach works because they see it with their own two eyes and they refuse to believe it. There's just no way she's doing this of her own free will and volition. He's got to be paying her. He's got to have her locked up. He's brainwashed her, blah, blah. I hear all this stuff. The bottom line, guys, is that I have receipts. Susan Winter here does not. But because I tell hard truths instead of pretty lies, her advice is much more palatable and digestible. Why she's been all over the place, the reason why she continues to get gigs the way she does, and speaking appearances, is because she doesn't ruffle any feathers. She doesn't get in anybody's kitchen, so to speak. She doesn't piss anybody off. Listen, I have a lot of guys who follow me, and they tell me, Donovan, when I first started listening to you, you fucking pissed me off. I didn't like that you were a fucking asshole. You hit me right in the truth where it hurt. I didn't fucking like you. I'm saying fuck you, but I've come around. I get it. I understand now. I understand now what you were talking about, and now I have come to admire your advice, even though it is sometimes hard to hear. I have women watching my show. And the women that watch my show, a lot of times they're afraid to call, rightfully so, but they do call. So she's saying that making your partner feel insecure is a game. Guys, anytime any dating expert characterizes what a man does as playing games, what they're doing is they're sort of admitting that the man plays the game better than the woman. See, when women play mind games with men all the time, but they just call it part of the game. Well, it's just part of being a female. This is just how girls are. But then as soon as men flip the script And now the girl is on the run. Now the girl is the one pining and wanting the guy's attention. Oh, he's playing mind games.
Today,
if you speak up to your boyfriend and he creates distance and doesn't want to talk, that's manipulation. That's narcissism. Dude, do you even know what narcissism is, Susan? Like, do you know what that is? Number one. Number two, okay, so she said that her boyfriend hurt her. Him not talking to her, how exactly is that manipulation? Again, anytime a man shows more proficiency in handling a woman than she shows in handling him, that's manipulation. Females characterize manipulation as me doing more for him than he does for me. Because women are used to coming out on top every time. Women are used to getting told I love you 10 times more than men are. Women are used to doing guys things more than, they're used to guys doing things for them more than the other way around. So if a girl ever finds that she's doing more than she normally does with a guy, she calls that manipulation. This is the most nonsensical bull I've ever heard. We don't know anything about this situation. All we know is that this woman told her boyfriend that something that he said or did hurt her, and that he said that she was being oversensitive. Did it ever occur to you, Susan, that maybe the boyfriend was right? That's the first question. The second question is, what exactly did he do or say to her that caused her to feel that hurt or that pain? See, again, Susan is jumping to conclusions without having all of the facts. I mean, for all we know, she could be talking about him turning the channel without her permission. Well, Danny, you turned the channel without my permission, and that hurt my feelings. He's like, what? You're getting all bent out of shape over that? Oh, that you're too fucking sensitive. You want to know why he hasn't talked to her for a week? Because she won't let it go. She's the type of girl who's used to getting her way all the time. And now that she's being bitchy and neurotic and losing her shit about something she has no business losing her shit about, and he's not having it, now it's a problem. The fuck out of here, man.
look at the dynamic of what's happening.
Oh my God.
You're hurt, but you don't get to own your hurt. You're being told you're overly sensitive. So
again, you're hurt. Susan, let's stop right there. Get more information. Why is she hurt? Like, Susan needs to get more information from these letters. He needs to ask this girl, okay, she needs to ask this girl, why are you hurt? What did he say or do that made you feel hurt? No, she is assuming that her hurt and her pain is actually valid. Women say a lot of things about how they feel. Dude, 95% of the time, it's just a bunch of shit. It's just stirred up fucking drama. Here's another thing, Susan. Did you ever consider maybe her cycle might have something to do with this? Did you ever consider, Susan, that maybe she was PMSing? Maybe it's a week or so before her period, and she's in that premenstrual syndrome, and when women are in PMS, they get oversensitive about shit that they shouldn't get oversensitive about? No, Susan is assuming that this woman's hurt and that her pain is 100% valid for no other reason but that she told her it was. Susan knows nothing about this situation, yet here she is, in the words of Dalai Lama, maybe you'll get another one. This is why women are failing at relationships. Susan is advising this girl, well, if your boyfriend hurts your feelings and he doesn't want to sit around and talk about it and air out and talk about your feelings, then maybe you'll find another one, in the words of the Dalai Lama. Get the out of here. Dude, I hate it when people answer a question with, in the words of blah, blah, blah. You know what? In the words of Donovan Sharp, you're full of shit.